Sadly, Darwin could not let that knowledge completely vanish, so he preserved the map along with his secret journal. Only a select few scientists were ever allowed access to it. Most considered his story too fanciful to be believed, especially as the site would never be found for another century. Hell's Cape, Gray said. This place. For most of the past century, thick ice shelves hid the true coastline. It was only after the recent decades of thawing that we were able to rediscover it again. Even still, I had to use bombs to break loose the remaining ice to reach this place and set up our base. It was only afterward that we came to realize we weren't the first ones to come since Darwin's fateful visit. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Harrington brought up more maps. Gray recognized the one drawn by the Turkish explorer Rees, along with the chart by Orontius Finesse. These old maps suggested sometime in the ancient past, some 6,000 years ago, much of the coastline may have been free of ice. The Turkish admiral who drew this first map claimed he compiled it based on charts of great age, some dating back as far as the 4th century BC. How long ago? Jason asked. The professor nodded. During that time, we know it to the Phoenicians by the astounding sailors, building giant oared warships that plowed far and wide. So it's possible they reached this southernmost continent and recorded what they discovered. Admiral Rees compiled his chart from maps secured at a library in Constantinople. Even he suspected some of his most ancient source material might have come from the famed Library of Alexandria before it was destroyed. Why did he think that? He mentions that some of the maps he reviewed in Constantinople had notations that suggested an Egyptian origin. And according to archaeologists, the ancient Egyptians were plying the seas as far back as 3500 BC. So, close to 6,000 years ago, Gray said. And the coasts may have been free of ice. But what do these charts have to do with Darwin? After returning to England, Darwin grew obsessed with discovering more about what he had encountered at the place he named Hell's Cape. He collated ancient maps and searched records of great antiquity, looking for any other mention of this place. He also tried to understand its unique geology. What's unique about it? Kowalski asked. Looks like a big cave. It's much bigger than you can imagine. All of it warmed by geothermal activity. In fact, when Darwin found the mouth of this cavern, it was stained blood red with iron oxides that steamed forth out of the opening, rising from a boiling sea of iron-rich salt water found deep below. On the other side of the continent, you can find a similar geological formation called Blood Falls in the McMurdo dry valleys near your American base. Gray could only imagine what that ominous sight must have looked like to those Victorian-era men aboard the Beagle. Darwin's obsession overtook his life, so much so that it delayed the publication of his famous treatise on evolution